Hello, good afternoon. Hi, wherever you are, I hope you're well today tuning in. My name is Wenlin. Today I'm very glad to be able to facilitate this session, which is called Somatic Yoga. So before we begin moving, I just want to talk a little bit about the approach. So you may be familiar with the practice of yoga, and today's practice is called Somatic Yoga because it's a combination or heavily influenced by the practice of somatics, which has been created by Thomas Hanna. So the practice of somatics is a series of gentle movements that primarily looks at reprogramming certain neural pathways and conditioning ourselves to change the habitual patterns that we usually move in. So today what I would encourage you to do is focus less on how you look like in the pose, whether it is correct, whether looks exactly like me, because how you do it may be slightly different from me. I would encourage you to focus on the sensations in your body as you are doing it. Where do you feel this sensation? What sensation are you feeling? And this is what informs the somatic yoga approach. Okay, so before we begin, it can be handy to have two toilet rolls, so I'll show you later on like what we'll be using them for, and especially a couple of blankets as well, because later on especially if you have some knee pain or joint pain, it may be useful as well. Yeah. Okay, so we'll just come into a comfortable seated position first. You can sit on the ground, close towards the ground on your yoga mat, or if this is uncomfortable for you, you can feel free to sit on a chair as well. It's totally fine. Yeah. Okay, so coming into a comfortable seated position. So if you find that your pelvis is very much lower than where your knees are, for example, if you sit in a cross-leg position and you find your knees are very high, it can be helpful to take a cushion or even the two toilet rolls and to sit underneath the toilet rolls. Or if you have yoga blocks, you can also sit underneath the yoga, let the yoga block be underneath your sit bones. So what this is doing is just elevating your pelvis, so there's less of a restriction in your pelvis here, and it lengthens and creates more space here in the joints. Yeah. Okay, so just coming into a comfortable seated position wherever you are. We'll take a couple of breaths in this seated position first. And as we stay here, I invite you, if you feel safe, to gently just begin to close your eyes. So we won't be here too long. I just want to invite you to take a journey through the spine. So if you read the summary or the synopsis of today's episode, we'll begin on a journey throughout the spine. So the spine is one of the most important structures inside the body. And there are three primary curves in the spine. And inside the spine, there are many neural pathways that connect the entire of your body with your brain, with your different vital organs. And why the spine is really so important is very often, in daily life right now, we neglect the spine. We don't sit in a way that actually is good for the spine. And we very often also, don't move in a way that nourishes the spine. So just take a couple of breaths first and start to visualize in your mind what the spine feels like in your body. So for the 2 points that are in contact with the ground, we call this the pelvis, this huge bone here that connects your lower part of your body, your limbs, your legs, the femur bones, with the upper part of your body. Just let them ground down through the earth, whether they are seated on top of the yoga blocks, the toilet rolls, or on the ground, or even on the chair. As you exhale, just let them soften towards the earth. Yield. So neither a sense of resisting, contracting inwards, nor a sense of collapsing. So it's this balance that is between softness and strength. It is a sense of feeling supported. Few more breaths here, just noticing. Okay, so we'll begin by taking a journey upwards from the pelvis. So situated in the pelvis, we can find the sacrum and the tailbone, which is the last part of the spine, and then we'll journey upwards towards your waist, your waist area, which is where you feel your belly, where you feel your lower spine, and we call this the lumbar spine. Often for a lot of us, when we feel aches after sitting for a long while in a position, maybe watching Korean drama, or maybe sitting at the desk, you have to reply emails, Sometimes you may feel some strain there. So this is the lumbar spine. But this is the part of the spine that is the most flexible, and we can fold forward and we can move backwards using this area. So flexion, which is folding forward, and extension, which is arching back. And then we move upwards. So maybe if you like to, you can, with eyes closed or open, start to touch and feel your rib cage. Okay, so the area that surrounds the rib cage, the spine that it's inside, is called the thoracic spine. And this part of the spine, the curve is slightly different. So if you had a look at the image in the preview, you might have seen that the curve goes in one direction, kind of like this way, curving outwards in the lumbar spine area, and then the thoracic spine reverses the curves. And this thoracic spine is your primary curve. It is the first curve that has been developed even as a fetus when we were in the womb of our moms. So this is your very first curve that was generated. Yeah, just feel into the curve and how this connects with your rib cage. And this is very important because this is where it connects your upper body, where you start to feel your shoulders, your chest, your heart, your lungs are all here. And then slowly we move up towards the last part of the spine, which is perhaps maybe the most important. Well, they're all very important. The cervical spine. So I'm just going to move sideways so you can see, and maybe you can also touch the vertebrae of your cervical spine yourself if you would like. So when we touch, we feel the sensation and we remember. This is slightly different from learning from the front part of our brain, prefrontal cortex, which is thinking. So today I invite you to feel and touch. Use a muscle memory and the proprioceptors at the fingers, using the organ of the skin to touch and feel. Can you feel the vertebrae in your neck? This is the cervical spine, and this is what connects the two parts, lower parts of your spine with the crown of your head, which is where your mind, your brain stem is all connected. So these are all very important parts of the spine. And now that we've mapped the different parts of the spine, I want to invite you to start to feel and notice which parts feel a little bit more stuck. Do they feel spacious? Do they feel clunky? Maybe in yoga class you may hear teachers saying stack your spine. So we know that, anatomically it's not possible really to stack the spine because we are just full of these curves in the spine. So now that we know this, visualize your spine as this fluid structure. And can you feel the spaces inside the spine? Start with every exhale to send the breath where you feel needs a little bit more love. This could be not just in the spine, but also in your pelvis, the pelvic bones as well. Sometimes we may feel a bit stuck, or there may be pain or aches there. Just send the breath there. Visualize the breath as a channel, as ribbons that you can send downwards or upwards towards your neck. A few more breaths. And then very slowly, if your eyes are closed, gently allow them to open. Okay, we'll start to begin to move. Now that we are orientated with the spine and we know where we are in space and the different spaces in the body. So we'll move through the 6 different ways that the spine can move, and we call this the 6 degrees of freedom. So I'll talk you through as we move. So just grabbing the 2 toilet rolls, and you may be thinking, what is she doing? What are we going to do with the toilet rolls? And just place them on top of the palms, and we'll begin to move left to right. Left to right. As you're doing this, see if you can feel what sensations and what is happening in your body. Okay, so here we are moving into the primary mode of movement that is called axial rotation. So we're rotating left and right, left and right. And I would start to invite you to think and to feel, where do you feel this movement? Is this happening from your neck, from your chest, from your waist, maybe even from your shoulders, your elbows? Can you notice where this movement is coming from? So it's just a very gentle movement, and you're just simply carrying these 2 toilet rolls as if there's something really precious, and you're like rotating left and right. A few more breaths here. So these are the first 2 degrees of freedom, axial rotation left and right. And then very slowly we'll take this movement a little bit wider, and if you would like a more active class, you can make this movement more rigorous as well. So a little bit wider. You can add the movement from your shoulders and your elbows, letting the elbows bring you backwards as your twist deepens. Let the shoulders be soft, your jaw be relaxed as you do this. And then very slowly, as we take it over towards your left side, we're just going to turn the toilet rolls face down and then place them one on your knee, the other, not on the knee, on the thigh, and then the other onto the ground. And then as we inhale, we're going to press down firmly using the finger pads onto the toilet rolls to lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, we can twist the chest backwards even more. And just stay here, feeling the sensation of twisting inside your spine. If you like to, you can complete the twist by looking beyond the shoulder that's at the back. Now you might feel the stretch in your neck as well. One more breath. Okay, inhale. The palm that is at the back, we just bring it up across and then land it on top of the thigh. Okay, and then we're just going to leave them there. Yeah, they're just going to be there. And then the palms are now crossed, right? Just give yourself a nice big hug. So here now we're moving into the thoracic spine. Yeah, we're not really doing much with it. We're stretching actually the shoulder muscles, and you might feel as you do this, your shoulder blades, the two parts at the back of your shoulders, they're moving apart and they're spreading. A few more breaths, just giving yourself a very nice hug. And notice if you can feel the warmth from your fingers, your palms as you're doing this. Then gently release the grip and we'll just let the elbows come forward. So the backs of the palms are touching each other and we can stay here. If you want even more and if it's within your reach, you can cross the wrists and just let the palms gently touch. We'll come into eagle arms or Garudasana arms. Just gently inhale, lengthen, let the elbows reach at the shoulder level and you'll feel this tugging sensation as the shoulder blades move apart. Few more breaths here. One more breath. Gently release and we'll spread the wings. Let the chest broaden and open. And then we'll come to the other side. Once again, taking the toilet rolls and we'll begin with this very gentle movement, just swinging. Bringing the toilet rolls left and right, left and right. Now you may be more familiar with this movement. Just notice how you feel as you're doing this. Okay, and now we'll take it over towards your right side, traveling over to the right, and then just turning the palms face down. So one toilet roll dents down onto the thigh, and the other one just at the back of your hip, slightly behind. And then as we inhale, we're just going to press down with the finger pads on towards the toilet rolls. Lengthen the spine. As you exhale, maybe you feel your chest rotate a little bit more towards the back. And still staying here, still letting your breath be very smooth, very even, very soft and gentle. And to complete the twist, you can look beyond the shoulder that's at the back. And you'll feel the stretch in your neck. One more breath. Now also twisting from your cervical spine. With the next breath, gently letting the palm that's holding the toilet roll at the back come and cross on top. So now we are moving the other way, and now the other arm will be on the top, yeah? And then we'll simply embrace ourselves once again. So over this period during COVID, you may have felt that you might not have been able to see your friends or maybe some of your relatives, your close family. Maybe you miss someone. Hug this. Just send this hug as if you were going to hug that person. And if you need a hug yourself really hard. Take this chance. We don't love ourselves enough. Yeah. Just take this moment to let that sensation simmer and sink in. Okay, very slowly we'll release the grip from your fingers. And then the elbows just cross. Backs of the forearms come together. Palms come together. You can stay here as it is. If you want to cross the palms, you can let the palms cross as well. So as you cross them, we'll inhale, lift the elbows slightly higher so they are level with your shoulders. And just breathe here. Notice what sensations arise as you do this. So primarily we are working with the shoulder girdle here, and this is a great pose to relieve tension in the shoulders, especially if you have shoulder aches. One more breath. Gently release. Inhale, embrace, open the arms out, and then exhale, gently release. Okay, so now we looked at two different degrees of freedom, which is twisting the spine left and right? So there's still 4 more degrees of freedom. Let's explore them together. So we gently just place the toilet rolls at the side. We might need them later on, but for now it's okay. So we've been crossing our legs, right? If you've had your legs crossed, cross them the other way around so you get enough circulation in your hips. Okay, so for the next exercise, we're going to move sideways, lateral flexion, which is arching in one direction and the other direction. So there's this very, very fun exercise that I've learned from another teacher from the UK. And I'd like you to imagine, or I invite you to imagine that your body is like this part of your body, the collarbones. Can you feel them? Yeah, they're actually connected with your shoulder and also with your spine. And right behind where the tips, the edges of your collarbones are, you know, they're almost going to connect to the sternum. Behind there is where your lungs, the top part of your lungs, actually reach all the way to there. So we're just going to spend a couple of breaths here, using the touch of your fingers to feel your collarbones. And then notice if you can feel your breath. Maybe you can feel the gentle rise and fall with every inhale and exhale. Okay, very slowly opening the eyes. Okay, we're going to begin to start to steer the wheel inside the body. Okay, imagine your collarbones are like steering wheels, and it's going to take you on a journey left and right. You can start to play around using your fingers to like steer yourself left and right as you feel this movement. And as you arch over, can you feel what part of your body is actually moving? Can you feel the ribs stretching? And between each of the ribs, there are various different muscles that connect them. Also ligaments, tissues. A few more breaths, just sensing and feeling. We won't be here too long. Okay, and then we gently come back towards the center. Very gentle movement. This will start to get more and more pronounced. Okay, now using your dominant palm, whichever it is, whichever feels more intuitive to you, start to feel underneath the collarbones. Imagine there's something like a doorknob or something that you can turn. You know when you cook, like you're gonna turn on the fire, right? You're just gonna turn the knob, so you're just gonna start the fire. And as you do this, feel into the knob, and we're gonna allow the other arm to become soft. And just gonna begin to turn the knob, and as you do so, let your body drape over. Slowly inhale, come back towards the center. Again, we'll do this one more time. As you turn the knob, let your body drape over, and you feel this side broadening as you do so, coming back up. Now we'll release this palm and move lower between where the chest is, between the ribs, right in the center, close to where the heart is. Yeah. Once again, visualizing a knob here. We're just going to turn the knob once again. Turning, broadening the chest. And then inhale, come back up. Now again, turning the knob, broadening the chest. And then coming back up. Okay, we're going to move this even lower, bringing the palm now almost towards the belly. So it's in between where the middle of your sternum is, your chest, and then your belly. Yeah. So this is the third knob. And you might feel a different sensation as you do this. Turning a knob. And then we'll come back. Again, once turning. And then we'll come back. And then the last one, okay? Belly button. So start to feel into your belly. Just enjoy touching the sensation of all the little soft parts, the solid parts. And then we're just going to begin to start to turn the knob. This time maybe you turn a little bit deeper from the side, the attachment of your hips, and then come up, and once again turning down and come up. Okay, so now we're going to put it all together. So we've been isolating the movement, taking it at one specific part. We're just going to begin with the top part again. Turn, slide down, turn, slide down, turn, slide down, turn. And then as we come up, just let the knobs gently bring you up. Let's do this one more time, yeah? Okay, just sensing into, don't worry, you know, there's no right or wrong here. It's just start to feel as you arch over what sensations and where you're moving from. And let your body be very soft, very fluid. Just return to the natural fluid state that your body is. Okay, and then gently release. We're just going to take a couple of breaths here to notice. Okay, on the side that you draped over, how do you feel? And on the side that arched towards the side that you formed the rainbow, how do you feel? Are there any differences between the left and the right? And just take a moment to notice. And then now we'll move over to the other side. Yeah, okay, now you can use the same palm or another palm. Yeah, returning to the same knob, and we'll begin to turn the knob and let your top half of your body, upper body drape, and then come back. Just one more time here, turning your knob. Sliding down towards between where the breast is, the breastbones are. Inhale, come up. One more time as you exhale, drape over. Inhale, come up. Okay. Sliding down between where the middle of the breastbones are and your belly button. Just turning your third knob. Inhale, come up. Once again, exhale. Tip over, just spilling over like water. Inhale, come up. Last one will come towards the belly button. Okay, just soften and release. No right or wrong way to do it. Turn over as you soften. Inhale, come up. One last time. Drape and spill over. Let all your fluid content spill over. And come out. And now we're going to put it all together. Turning the top knob, second, third, fourth, drape over, and then we're going to come up. One more time. Just feeling into it. It's one of my most favorite exercises to do. And then gently come up towards the center. Okay, now we'll just take a couple of breaths here once again. Just notice how you feel on this side. And now that you've done both sides, you know, how does your body feel? Does one side feel shorter or longer than the other? Or is it the same? Do you feel balanced? Does one side feel more open? Does one side feel more closed? Just take a few moments to notice. Very often we are in a rush to finish something, to, you know, jump on to the next exercise. We don't take a moment to sit down and just connect with how we felt and what we have done. And then very slowly we'll open the eyes. Okay, so we've explored 4 degrees of freedom already. Does everyone remember what they are? So twisting, alright, turning, and then moving sideways. And the last 2 are, of course, folding forward and arching back. And in anatomical terms, we call this flexion, folding forward, and extension, arching back. Yeah. Okay. So for this exercise, once again, it would be slightly better if you were seated on the ground, but it can be done with the chair as well. We're gonna come into Sufi rolls. So this is just an exercise in which you let your body tip forward. You draw a circle and then you arch back. So you're just gonna tip forward. Okay, you're gonna come down from the block. So you're gonna tip forward, circle, and then move back. You tip forward, and as you tip forward, moving into flexion, moving back, extension. Yeah. A few more times here. So as you do this, you can begin with very small circles. Or if you prefer, you can begin with large circles as well. Just experiment, play around. There's no right or wrong as you are doing this. And start to notice, you know, where do you feel this? Is this in your hip joint that you're feeling it? Are you feeling this in your waist? Maybe you're feeling this in your rib cage or even your shoulders. Are you using more of your shoulders, for example, like this? So there's no right or wrong. You can, many options, you can feel free to play around. Okay, now we'll reverse the direction as well. So just changing direction, feeling how this moves and change. You can add a little bit of a rock from the hip as well. Sometimes I like to do this if I'm feeling a little bit more energetic. Rolling. Okay. And very slowly we'll come back towards the center. Okay, so now we're going to do the surfer's dive. I like to call this the surfer's dive because it feels like you're going to jump into the ocean. Okay, as you inhale, arch. And then as you exhale, we're going to round the spine and swoop under a wave and curl up. As if you're riding a wave, surfing on the ocean. Once again, inhale, arch. Exhale, dip down. Underneath, curl the spine, the neck. And ride the way up. Okay, let's do this 2 more times. Inhale, heart rises, chest lifts. Exhale, round the spine as you dive underneath the ocean, swimming and letting your spine, your chest, your heart lead up. One last time. Inhale, arch the spine. I'll show you side face this time. Exhale, arch the spine. Exhale, round, dive forward. And come up towards a neutral spine. How are we? All okay? Yeah? Okay, so that was flexion and extension. So it's kind of a somatic movement, and we'll continue to explore flexion and extension over the next couple of exercises. So let's come into tabletop first. So if this practice, we'll be on our knees for a bit. If you have some knee pain, there are some possible modifications. So you can firstly start to drape a towel, yeah, on where to pad the area where you'll be putting your knees. So this could be quite helpful before you do this. Yeah, and then we'll come into tabletop as you do this, which is all fours. If you have any wrist pain, you can also come onto your fists as such, which is quite firm as well. And you can choose this option. And you can also do this on your forearms. Just make sure there's enough space between your hip joint and your shoulder joint, so you create this spaciousness instead of collapsing inwards like this, yeah, and shortening your ribs. Okay, so whatever option you are in, whether you have your palms, your fists, on your forearms, we're just going to move into a couple rounds of cat and cow, which you might already be familiar with. If you're not, no worries. And just start to sense and feel into your fingers. And let them touch down onto the ground. Okay, and feel stable. And spreading your weight so it's more towards the front of your palms, so the fleshy part that's underneath the fingers, yeah, instead of where the wrist is. And feel them like suction cups. On exhale, you release to them, yeah. Okay, full inhale, and we're gonna arch the spine, just letting your nose, the crown of your head, and your tailbone, your butt, to stick up towards the sky. Exhale as you round, you form a rainbow from your head all the way towards your legs, rounding the spine. Maybe you look towards your belly button. 2 more times. Inhale, trace a line with your nose all the way towards the crown, the sky. And exhale, round, curl. Let that line trace back and meet towards your belly button. With the next breath, we'll come into a neutral spine. And then we'll start to come down onto the mat. Okay, we're going to come down onto the mat, and we can come into child's pose first, which is moving backwards, letting your forehead rest down onto the mat. And then from here, we're just going to come onto the knees and then lie down onto the ground. And this last part will be a shoulder stretch for this exercise. Yeah. Okay, we're going to lie down onto the mat, forming a T shape. I'm not sure if you not sure if you guys can see. Might need to adjust the camera backwards. Okay, so I'm forming a T shape with my body onto the ground as I do so. Okay, and I'm going to roll over towards one side. So I'm using my my left palm. You guys might see the right. And then I'll just stay here first. Yeah. So here you might already feel this in the shoulder that's still on the ground, stretching T shape. If you want more, you can bend the top knee and just set it down. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. If your neck feels uncomfortable, you can let this toilet roll come and support your head. So this is a really nice stretch for the shoulders. So not really for the spine, but a good one for the shoulders, because very often we round the spine, and this one just opens the front of your chest more. One more breath. And we'll gently release, releasing the toilet roll, releasing your body. We'll stay for a couple of breaths here in this T shape. Yeah, your arms being the capital T and then your body being the stem of the T. Now keep the other arm onto the ground and the other elbow bent, and we're going to roll over to the other side, letting your head rest down. And then the top leg is going to just step behind as you come into this position. Just stretching again, you should feel this in the shoulder blades. One more breath here. And gently release. We're going to come out from the position. Okay, so the next one, after the opening the shoulder blades, now we actually have to close them. For any pose that we do, if we stretch in one side, we have to do the other side. So this one, you can feel free to have a toilet roll, have some towels handy to support you if the arms don't reach the position. I'm going to cross my arms, bring one arm underneath first. Yeah, so it's coming down like this. And then the other arm is going to cross on top. So we're going to come back into the hugging position of the arms. And then let the toilet roll be where our head is. So bearing in mind in this position, you should still feel like you're able to breathe. Yeah? So feel free to come up a little bit higher, like this. If this is where you are, maybe you're a little closer to the ground. Yeah, you can let your head rest here like this. And then we'll stay for a few breaths here, just stretching the shoulders. One more breath. Connect the sensations in the back of your shoulder girdle. Just notice what sensations you might be feeling here. One more breath. Gently release yourself. No rush. Gently roll over to one side, and then we come back to the T shape first. Or you can let your arms be at the side of the body and just stay. Notice how you feel. And then very slowly we'll move to the other side. Let the other arm slide underneath, crossing over towards the other shoulder. And then the free arm slides on top. Once again, preparing toilet rolls, towels, whatever will help you feel a little bit more supported in this position. And then we'll stay for a few breaths. One more breath here, letting your breath be soft and fluid. Gently releasing yourself, coming out from the pose. Once again, returning to the same position, letting your body be soft. Slowly we'll come into the final part of the class, and the last few postures will be more passive and mostly supported using the blocks. Okay, so here if you have actually 3 toilet rolls or 2 foam or yoga blocks, it would be handy. I'm going to show you if you have yoga blocks or books at home how to set up the position, and then I'll show you the same for toilet rolls. Okay, we're going to come into a reclined supported extension in the spine, which is slight back bend. So you might feel this slight opening of the pectoralis muscle, which is here, and we're just gonna gently place one block or one toilet roll will be for your head, yeah, and then one will be for the shoulders, the shoulder blades, yeah. So where you feel your shoulders are when you use one palm, reach behind you, yeah. There are two wing-like structures. These are the shoulder blades, and this will be where it is. So it's not going to be behind your waist. It's not going to be behind your hips. It's behind the shoulders. Okay. So it's roughly this positioning, and the same with toilet rolls as well. Actually, if you have another toilet roll, it might be good to have 3 toilet rolls because it's not enough for your shoulder blades here. Yeah. So like this. This will be the same setup if you use toilet rolls. Yeah, and then we'll come into a reclined position, and I'll show you using the toilet roll. So for the foam blocks, they're already quite soft and very comfortable to lie on. So for the toilet rolls, a little bit tricky. That's why it's nice to have towels and you can drape over them. Okay, and then they become almost like foam blocks, very sturdy and very comfortable to lie on and very supportive. Okay, and then we're gonna drape one more across the top one, which is for your head. And I'm going to turn facing away from where I've set up, where my blocks will be. I'm just going to bend the knees and then slowly walk the palms backwards so that I can adjust the position of the toilet rolls or the block so that they are behind where my shoulders are. And then very slowly let my head rest down onto the toilet roll. Just take some time to find the optimal position. And it might feel a little strange in the beginning, but you will feel this slight opening sensation as the shoulders drop backwards. Maybe you might feel your chest peeling open. So for many of us, this area feels very vulnerable because the heart and the lungs are here, and we are always in this rounded position. This passive stretch just helps you to like open up the chest, and if it feels okay, you can just let the palms drop down towards the side. The knees are bent, but if you want to, you can also straighten them. Just let them fall towards the ground. Don't worry whether the legs are parallel or not, whether they are straight, whether they are turned in. Just let them be soft. And then in this position, I invite you to just start to soften your jaw, your neck. Now this area, very often we store a lot of tension inside the lower part of the mouth connected to the neck, and the shoulders. So here, as we open ourselves to life, as we surrender ourselves in this supported back bend, can you yield to the grounding, the gravity of earth? You are supported. You are loved. You are valued. Just taking a few more breaths here. Just notice what you notice. There is no right or wrong. Few more breaths. Very slowly, with eyes open or closed, we're just going to roll over to one side. Okay, very important how we exit this pose. So after opening up the chest, really all the work has been done. Very mindfully, just guide yourself. Use the help of your palms. Roll off the blocks, yeah, or the toilet rolls. And then we're gonna lie on to our backs. Just bring the toilet rolls away from your body and push them away. Lie back on your spine. We're we're just going to stay here. You can place one palm on the belly, the other palm on the heart. Just take a few breaths here. If there's any other lingering sensation, any stuckness in the body, you can feel free to shake it out, to move in any way that feels good for you. Also, I forgot to mention, if it's uncomfortable for your knees, you can feel free to place a bolster, a block, or anything underneath your knees. This will help to release the tension in the hip flexors in your joints here. Yeah, whatever feels good. You can also do this. This may feel a little bit more supported, because most of us don't feel good actually just lying flat on the ground, because as you've seen, we have curves in the spine. Yeah, okay. And just gently come back to that position of rest. Just connect and drop into your breath. So as we had explored the 6 degrees of freedom in the 3 curves of your spine. And completed that journey, just let yourself return to the state of surrender. Surrender not in the sense of meaning I give up, but rather yes, saying yes to whatever life gives, whatever life brings. Yielding, knowing that whatever happens, you, your body, your mind, your heart is supported. Okay, we can gently stay here, letting the palms rest on the heart and the belly, or let the palms face up, face down, whatever feels good. Feel free to stay for however long you would like. So if you are in your Savasana, please continue to lie down. For the last part, I will facilitate this class in a seated position. You just need to listen to my voice. So as you are lying down, gently release through the balls of your feet, arches of your feet, your ankles, your shin bones, your lower legs, your knees, backs of the knees, your thighs, your buttock muscles. Just let everything become very soft and fluid. Staying for as long as you would like. And just enjoying that state of fluidity inside your body. If and whenever you feel ready and you feel your practice is complete, gently, if you're lying on your back, roll over towards one side. Stay for a few breaths on the right side, letting one arm become a pillow for your head to rest on, and then slowly coming up to a seated position. So we come back to the same position we began the class. Just let the eyes close, the body settle. And then start to drop in once again to the 3 curves in your spine. Feeling them to be soft, strong but supportive. And just notice how you feel and compare this with how you felt before the class. How do you feel now? How does your body and your mind feel now? Just notice. And gently let both palms come on top of the chest, close to your heart. Breathe in deeply into your heart. As you exhale, let the palms move apart, rest on top of the thighs as you open to life. Soften, surrender. Gently allow the palms to come close towards the heart center, allowing your forehead to bow down towards your palms, sending gratitude to your body, your heart, your mind. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed today's session on the 3 curves of the spine, and see you next time.